Summer 1943. The Eastern Front is eerily silent. But this quiet is just the calm before a devastating storm. After the catastrophic defeat at Stalingrad, Nazi Germany is desperate, preparing one final massive gamble to turn the tide of the war back in its favor. At the heart of this gamble is a huge bulge in the Soviet lines near the city of Kursk. The goal is straightforward: crush the Soviet forces, regain the strategic initiative, and reassert German dominance on the Eastern Front. But this time, the Soviets are not the unsuspecting victims they were in 1941. They are ready. Thanks to a network of spies and effective intelligence, the Red Army knows the German plan months in advance. Stalin and his generals make a crucial decision. Instead of launching a preemptive strike, they will absorb the German attack and bleed them dry. What follows is one of the most incredible feats of military engineering in history. The Kursk salient is transformed into a fortress, the most heavily defended piece of ground the world has ever known. They dig endless networks of trenches for infantry. They lay over 500,000 anti-tank and anti-personnel mines, creating deadly traps for the advancing parrot. They conceal thousands of anti-tank guns in meticulously camouflaged positions, ready to spring an ambush. And behind it all, massive concentrations of artillery are zeroed in on every likely German approach route. The Red Army isn't just preparing for a battle, it's preparing a meat grinder. On July 5, 1943, the fragile silence shatters. The ground itself trembles under the bombardment. Then the main assault begins. Waves of German tanks and infantry surge forward, a tide of grey steel and field grey uniforms. The air quickly fills with thick smoke, the dust of explosions, and the shriek of flying metal. The largest armored battle in human history has just begun. But from the very first moment, they realize this is unlike any battle they have fought before. Every meter of ground is paid for in blood and steel. Mines erupt beneath the tracks of the advancing panzers, crippling them and leaving them vulnerable. Soviet anti-tank crews, demonstrating nerves of steel, hold their fire until the German tanks are at point-blank range, ensuring every shot counts. The battlefield quickly becomes a hellscape, a burning labyrinth of twisted metal, shattered machines, and endless craters. For days, the battle rages with unimaginable ferocity. The Germans advance, but their progress is agonizingly slow, grinding through layer after layer of the Soviet defenses. But they are also mechanically unreliable. Engines overheat and fail. Transmissions break down under the strain. It's a brutal war of attrition, and the numbers are firmly on the Soviet side. The climax of the battle occurs on the southern flank of the salient, near a small, unremarkable village called Prokhorovka. What unfolds is a scene of pure chaos and destruction. There is no room for sophisticated tactics or long-range duels. This is a point-blank brawl. Tanks ram into each other, firing their main guns at spitting distance. The noise is deafening. The roar of engines, the boom of cannons, and the horrifying screech of metal tearing against metal. The German units, depleted and demoralized, have no choice but to fall back. The strategic initiative, which Hitler had gambled everything to regain, is lost, this time for good. From this moment until the end of the war, the German army will be on the defensive, fighting a long, brutal, and ultimately hopeless retreat, all the way back to Berlin. Entire landscapes are transformed into scorched, lifeless earth. The sheer scale of Soviet industry, the depth of its manpower reserves, and the brilliance of its defensive preparation had overwhelmed even the most advanced military technology. The myth of German armored supremacy, a myth that had terrified the world since 1939, was shattered forever in the fields of Kursk. and for being the moment when the tide of the war in the East turned permanently against Nazi Germany. After Kursk, the road to Berlin was still long and would be paved with millions more casualties. But it was now a one-way road. Kursk wasn't just the largest tank battle in history. It was the moment Nazi Germany lost the war. It was a battle of machines, a battle of human will, and a battle that sealed the fate of the Second World War. We'll see you in the next one.